Hi everyone, invite back for another video. Trust you're all getting along nicely and that you're all having an incredible day. And with no further ado, we should bounce directly into it. The digital currency space is an unconventional spot in that, as I've referenced before in different recordings, when costs plunge a smidgen, we get in a supported measure of pessimism with regards to costs anyway. On the opposite side, in the event that we see costs moving back up, or then again on the off chance that there is the presumption that costs need to move back up, the massively, incredibly magnificent news starts to move on back, and there have been so far this year. I would agree that around 12, I need to say the number 12 Bitcoin maximalists, as well as Bitcoin records, individuals who truly like Bitcoin, emerging with cost expectations for Bitcoin for the digital money market for this bull run, for this positively trending market too. The fascinating part is that they're all approaching out with fundamentally almost precisely the same number. Some of them are more bullish than others, and they likewise prefer to make sense of why many individuals feel that this bull run will be perhaps of the most insane thing that we've at any point seen in presence. It seems okay. It doesn't appear to resemble hot air on the off chance that you will just base not entirely okay of, and I mean the news. For those of you who have been watching consistently, you know what I'm talking about. We as of late had news for those of you who missed it, that the Bitcoin ETF guarantors, just them alone, the number in those days is at 128 days. I expect the number presently is 140 days and 128 days. They gathered just shy of 900,000 Bitcoin. Now I accepted, dependent on numbers, that would have sent all that like soaring, since you realize you can't collect that a lot of anything, and afterward the cost essentially stays put. Not terrible, but not great either, with the news that they obtained almost 1 million Bitcoin in 128 days. My bug faculties were shivering, since I was like, pause, assuming you duplicate that by 3, somewhat over a year, would compare to 2.7 to 3 million Bitcoin being gone before the current year's over, right within the Bitcoin ETFs, and afterward I resembled stand by. There are different ETFs. Did we as a whole fail to remember this? No, obviously not, on the grounds that even close to the ETFs, we've likewise gotten a lot of insight about organizations who are purchasing spots, who are purchasing the genuine actual Bitcoin for them and for their organization. We've additionally been getting a gigantic measure of information about how much Bitcoin that is being removed from crypto trades, as these whales and these establishments are purchasing a greater amount of it. And furthermore, individuals resemble, hello, I need to self-guardianship. I need to move my mint pieces somewhere else. This is where we were getting, and I mean the possibility of a $100,000 to a $125,000 Bitcoin that has been similar to crawling more into the news throughout the span of the most recent 14 days. Vary with regards to bullishness. Nobody can beat. I believe there resembles 3 individuals who are dependably hyper bullish. It's Jack Mers, it's Jack Dorsey, Jack, and gracious golly, what's the third one? It's not Cathie Wood, gracious. It's Michael Mariner. They think now not a single one of us know whether this will occur yet. They 3 join, make Skipper Bitcoin, and they feel that we are in the following 5 years going to reside on a planet where the US dollar has imploded compel totally, and the world is pretty much running on Bitcoin. I can't start to make sense of how frighteningly thrilling that is, unnerving on the grounds that every individual who doesn't have Bitcoin would be in the crap, yet its opposite side would resemble, hello folks, we were correct, we made it this entire time. See, like something like that. So it resembles a twofold edged blockchain. Jack Mers is in the news today. Jack Mers, the president of Strike, assuming I recall accurately, he's the person who got in front of an audience to report that El Salvador was taking on Bitcoin as a type of legitimate delicate. Jack Mers, the president of Strike, a Bitcoin installments application, I believe they're involving Lightning too, has made a strong forecast about the cost of Bitcoin. He imagines that during this bull cycle alone, that Bitcoin could go to $1 million for each currency. Now I realize I hear certain individuals sucking their teeth. I get it, I comprehend. It sounds somewhat crazy, yet envision briefly that truly works out. We experienced nothing like this before in the market. We have 10 organizations who managed to purchase almost 1 million Bitcoin in 4 months. The degrees of collection beyond the ETFs are additionally very stunning. How much Bitcoin that is left on crypto trades isn't totally fluid. It's not all available to all, as many individuals hold their crypto on trades. Assuming we're assessing that there are more than 100 million individuals out of 8 billion individuals in the world who have Bitcoin, who have crypto, and by far most of them have their currencies on crypto trades. We're as of now in that Bitcoin pizza fellow sort of stage where nobody needs to sell their Bitcoin, or individuals are sitting tight for it to go to a lot more significant level, or there are many individuals who simply don't anticipate selling by any stretch of the imagination. So then, at that point, We can accept that the million or more Bitcoin that is left on crypto trades cannot totally exchange or potentially be bought by individuals who need Bitcoin. This doesn't factor into the other news that we continue to get about the nation's strict nations and enterprises and foundations who are purchasing constantly and a ton of time. We continue to discover the information about this new entry into the space. Thus, recollect the news that we had. This was perhaps 3 weeks prior. There was an organization in Japan who declared that they would have been adding Bitcoin to their stores. They needed to put resources into Bitcoin, so they had some additional cash instead of putting resources into the Japanese yen, which is dropping. In the event that you haven't seen the diagram, go gander at it. Resembles somewhat terrifying. Right now, they additionally reported that they were putting huge number of dollars into Bitcoin. We continue to get this news, and we know about this news since we're going over this news each and every day. Anyway, it never makes famous crypto news since it's not Darkstone, it's not Susanna, who likewise possesses 1.8 billion worth of Bitcoin. Not certain, assuming that you all helped that through because of the relative multitude of SEC filings. And these organizations are proceeding to amass constantly. We see that the 450 disapproved of Bitcoin are not truly stirring things up around town. Consistently, might anybody at any point explain to me why? Definitely on the grounds that we realize that individuals who are mining the Bitcoin aren't auctioning off the sum of all the Bitcoin that they made that day. They're digging it for them, and, surprisingly, more so those currencies not raising a ruckus around town. We realize that was all there was to it. 4 organizations alone is Darkstone, Devotion, GABA, Andu are gathering 7 to multiple times how much mined Bitcoin each day that aren't in any event raising a ruckus around town. So when you discuss hyper bullishness and where they think the market is going to say, even the most recent few years there are speculations and have been hypotheses for some time, and this is before the close to million Bitcoin collection by several organizations, there have been speculations that we are going sooner or later, and I plan to say our lifetime. It's more similar to the following DEC times CA 5 to 10 million Bitcoin whenever. So in the event that you've at any point gotten an opportunity, if it, assuming it intrigues you, sort of thing, attempt and watch truly old Bitcoin recordings from 2010, 2011, 2012 on YouTube, you can perhaps find them. I don't have the foggiest idea what they would be called, yet you realize they're out there. You could find more established articles. Tad simpler to find where individuals were examining. Bitcoin just hit 47. This thing won't ever hit $10 per mint piece. It's in a real sense numerically unthinkable. Bitcoin's at $8. Many individuals are discussing a $100 Bitcoin. It's simply unrealistic. Bitcoin can never go there. Bitcoin goes to $80. Individuals are discussing a $500 Bitcoin. It's impractical. Bitcoin's market cap would need to be many millions on the off chance that not $1 billion to arrive. Bitcoin goes to $11,200, and that was whenever I first began focusing on Bitcoin. I didn't get into the market yet. Is this thing, and for what reason is everybody flipping out? Ready to move on. Individuals were arguing then at $1,200 per currency. Individuals resembled I'm genuinely sure that Bitcoin sooner or later will hit $2,340,000, and I resemble these individuals. Must be crazy. There's no similar to the market cap, and I have one companion. He's not tuning in yet. I've never seen somebody so into the cryptographic money market who's so wary of all that occurs in the digital currency market. I advise this person to take a gander at Bitcoin in 2020. I recollect when costs dropped. I resembled Buddy. Currently purchase everything, however much you can, attempting to build up it. He got a few. We got some crypto C2, and he rode the whole wave until we got his $70,000 and was euphoric as one would be. Costs slid down, and he didn't age. How would I explain? He was imagining that none of it had at any point worked out, and he's likewise